If you own a PS5 and want to know exactly which games are worth every dollar, here are 25 that genuinely deliver. Starting with number 1, Elden Ring remains the single most essential game you can buy on PS5, and that has not changed. From Software took the Souls formula and dropped it into a sprawling open world that rewards curiosity at every turn. The Shadow of the Erdtree DLC extended the experience significantly, and the combat depth here is unmatched by almost anything else on the platform. It is challenging, but every hour you put in feels worth it. Game 2 is God of War Ragnarok, which raises the bar set by its already excellent predecessor in almost every way imaginable. Kratos and Atreus travel through all 9 Norse realms in a story packed with genuine emotional weight and some of the best-written characters in gaming. The combat feels incredible, the set pieces are massive, and the sheer scale of content on offer makes this one of the easiest full-price purchases you can make on PS5. 3 goes to Astro Bot, the 2024 Game of the Year winner that surprised absolutely everyone with how joyful and inventive it is. It is a love letter to PlayStation history, wrapped inside one of the most creative and charming platformers ever made. The DualSense integration is unmatched, with every surface and gadget translating into a distinct physical sensation. Even if you are not a platformer fan, Astro Bot is worth every cent. At number 4, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is the standout RPG of 2025. And arguably one of the most visually striking games ever made. Sandfall Interactive built a deeply original world, with a turn-based combat system that feels kinetic and rewarding rather than passive. The story, performances, and art direction all land at an exceptionally high level. It sold millions of copies and won Game of the Year honors, and every player who buys it at full price gets far more than they paid for. 5 is Ghost of Yotei, Sucker Punch's follow-up to Ghost of Tsushima, and it is one of the best PS5 exclusives released in 2025. You play as Atsu, a warrior navigating feudal Japan around Mount Yotei, with expanded combat options including dual katanas and new parry mechanics that make every duel feel incredibly satisfying. The open world is breathtakingly gorgeous, and the free Legends multiplayer update extended the value of the game considerably after launch. 6th on the list is Death Stranding 2, On the Beach, Hideo Kojima's wildly ambitious follow-up that is even more cinematic and unconventional than the first game. You traverse vast, dangerous landscapes delivering cargo, while a bizarre but compelling story unfolds around you. On PS5 Pro, it is one of the best-looking games available anywhere, and the combination of its unique gameplay loop, stunning visuals, and deeply strange narrative makes it unlike anything else worth buying on the console. Coming in 7th, Metaphor ReFantazio is Atlus at its most ambitious, blending a rich medieval fantasy world with the social simulation mechanics the studio perfected in Persona. The combat system layers real-time and turn-based elements together in a way that feels fresh and deeply strategic. The writing is sharp, the cast is memorable, and the sheer amount of content packed into this game makes it one of the best RPGs money can buy on PS5 right now. 8 is Nioh 3, which launched in February 2026 as a PS5 console exclusive and delivered exactly what fans of the series were hoping for. Team Ninja introduced a fully open-world structure alongside 2 distinct combat styles, Samurai and Ninja, giving players far more flexibility than in previous entries. The yokai design is excellent, the difficulty is demanding but fair, and the overall polish makes this one of the most rewarding action RPGs currently available on PlayStation. At number 9, Pragmata arrived on PS5 in April 2026 after years of anticipation, and Capcom delivered a genuinely exciting new IP. You play as Hugh and Diana on a near-future lunar research station, combining tactical hacking with fast-paced action to take down hostile bots. The story has real heart, the visual design is stunning, and the gameplay loop is fresh enough to stand out in a crowded genre. For fans of Capcom and sci-fi action games, this one is absolutely worth the full price. 10 is Saros, the latest PS5 exclusive from Returnal developer Housemarque, which launched in April 2026 and immediately earned its place among the best games on the platform. It is a roguelike that pushes the PS5 hardware hard, with tight third-person shooting, spectacular enemy design, and a dense atmosphere that pulls you in from the first run. If you loved Returnal, Saros is essential, and even if you did not, it is one of the most technically impressive exclusives Sony has released. 11 is Baldur's Gate 3, which has no equivalent on any platform in terms of sheer depth and player freedom. Larian Studios built an RPG that responds to virtually every choice you make, with a branching story that can unfold in completely different ways across multiple playthroughs. The co-op support makes it even better, and the amount of content packed in justifies the price several times over. It is one of the greatest RPGs ever made, available right now on PS5. At 12, Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is the most polished and visually spectacular superhero game available on PlayStation. You switch between Peter Parker and Miles Morales across a wider version of New York, with new traversal options like web wings that make swinging feel better than ever. The story brings Venom into the picture in a genuinely satisfying way, and the PS5 exclusive features keep the whole experience feeling premium from start to finish. 13 is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the second part of Square Enix's epic reimagining that expands the world of the original to an astonishing degree. The open-world regions are packed with content, the combat system builds beautifully on Remake's foundation, and the emotional story beats land with real force. For fans of the original or newcomers to the series, Rebirth is one of the most ambitious and generous RPGs available on PS5 and earns every bit of its full price. Coming in at 14, Balatro is one of the most addictive games released in recent memory, and the PS5 version is a perfect way to experience it. You build a poker-based deck and find increasingly absurd combinations of jokers and multipliers to score astronomical hands. The loop is simple to understand, but endlessly deep in execution. It won multiple awards and earned universal critical praise, and at its price point, it is one of the best value purchases you can make on PlayStation right now. 15 is Kingdom Come: Deliverance 2. Warhorse Studios' follow-up to its beloved medieval RPG, which launched in 2025 and delivered one of the most immersive open worlds of the year. You play as Henry in a meticulously recreated Bohemia, with realistic sword fighting, deep role-playing systems, and a story grounded in genuine historical events. The ambition and authenticity here set it apart from most other open-world RPGs, and PS5 players who missed it are sleeping on something special. At 16, Alan Wake 2 is Remedy Entertainment at its most creative and visually adventurous. The game shifts between two protagonists across a reality-bending horror thriller that blends live-action sequences with gameplay in ways no other studio has attempted. The PS5 version runs beautifully and uses ray tracing to create some of the most striking lighting effects in any game currently available. For players who want something intelligent, weird, and genuinely unforgettable, this is it. 17 is Monster Hunter Wilds, which launched in early 2025 and immediately became one of the best-selling games of the year. Capcom built the most accessible and visually impressive entry in the franchise, with an open ecosystem that reacts dynamically to weather and day cycles. The monster roster is fantastic, the weapon variety is enormous, and the endgame loop keeps players engaged for hundreds of hours. At full price, it is an exceptional value, even before the updates and additions that followed launch. Number 18 is Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth, the massive JRPG sequel that takes Ichiban Kasuga to Hawaii and expands the series' turn-based combat to new heights. The story is ambitious and emotionally resonant, the side content is absurdly entertaining, and the sheer amount of things to do makes this one of the most content-rich games in the Like a Dragon franchise to date. If you want a long, character-driven RPG experience on PS5, this delivers more than almost anything else on the platform. At 19, Split Fiction is the best co-op game released in 2025 and one of the most inventive multiplayer experiences available on PS5. From Hazelight Studios, the team behind It Takes Two, this is a two-player only adventure that constantly shifts genres, mechanics, and visual styles across its runtime. Every chapter feels completely different from the last, and the seamless creativity of the design makes it endlessly surprising. If you have someone to play with, it is an absolutely essential purchase. 20 is the Resident Evil 4 Remake, which remains one of the finest action horror games available on PS5, and a masterclass in how to reimagine a classic. Capcom rebuilt the original from the ground up while preserving everything that made it great, and the result is a tighter, scarier, and more spectacular game than the 2005 version. The PS5 performance is flawless, and the Separate Ways DLC adds even more content. For anyone who hasn't played it yet, it is among the best value buys on the platform. Coming in at 21, Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition includes the full base game and the Phantom Liberty expansion, and represents one of the most dramatic turnaround stories in gaming history. The PS5 version runs beautifully and takes full advantage of the hardware, and the combination of a gripping open world, excellent writing, and one of the best expansions ever released in Phantom Liberty makes this package exceptional value. If you dismissed it at launch, the 2026 version is a completely different experience. 22 is Returnal, one of the most daring and technically impressive PS5 exclusives ever released. Housemarque built a roguelike third-person shooter set on a hostile alien planet, where you die repeatedly and unravel a fractured narrative across each loop. The gunplay is precise and satisfying, the atmosphere is oppressive and fascinating, and the challenge curve rewards persistence in a way that very few games manage. It is one of the defining experiences of the PS5 era, and still holds up entirely. At 23, the Silent Hill 2 Remake is Bloober Team's best work by a wide margin, and one of the most accomplished survival horror games available on PlayStation. The original 2001 game is treated with genuine care, with updated combat, stunning visuals, and a faithfully recreated atmosphere that preserves what made the source material so affecting. The PS5 version takes full advantage of the DualSense, and the overall presentation raises the bar for what a remake can and should be. 24 is Hogwarts Legacy, which remains one of the most popular PS5 games based on sustained sales and player engagement well into 2026. You explore an open-world Hogwarts and its surrounding regions in the 1800s, casting spells, attending classes, and uncovering a story about ancient magic. The sheer joy of moving through that world as a wizard carries the experience. And for Harry Potter fans in particular, there is nothing else on PS5 that delivers this level of immersion. Rounding out the list at 25 is Star Wars Jedi Survivor, the sequel that improves on Fallen Order in every meaningful way. Cal Kestis returns with an expanded moveset, more fluid lightsaber combat stances, and a larger, more varied set of worlds to explore. The story has real emotional stakes, the combat feels excellent, and the PS5 performance patch makes it one of the smoothest action-adventure experiences available on the platform. For Star Wars fans and action RPG players alike, it absolutely earns its full price.